stands out, even though it's my own, I'll admit. I think it stands out as a extremely close, happy
Well,
group of
I
people.
will say that no matter what happened, if we got angry at each other, Pop always said, family is important and you don't stay angry. They're your best friends. And he was right.
It's got to be more than that.
Oh,
My
it's
mother
more
and
than
father
that.
were
More
the
than
most
that.
unusual people, and their relationship was so warm and so loving, and we all felt it. There never was a need for strict discipline. My father was not a disciplinarian, but it never became necessary for him to have to do it.
I think this is where I may fit in, because I came into the family 42 and a half years ago. A total stranger, having just met Mom, Pop, and Sylvia. Was accepted into this family as though I had been born into it. I was a sister, and I was the only son's wife, a very important person in their lives. They treated me that way all my life, all their lives.
We
But
spoiled
you know,
her.
but in many other
But we
households,
loved her.
sisters could always feel no one was good enough for their only brother.
I know it, that's why it was
And this
important.
was another indication of the kind of warmth in our family, one for another.
Do you think that the fact that you had to absorb the entire family of another relative when you were all relatively young may have been instrumental in fashioning your thinking about each other and about people?
Could be, but that was because an example was set by our parents, that there was no difference.
I can't say that I ever felt that there was any difference, and they
No,
were like
no,
brother and
none of
sister.
us did.
We were never given the opinion that these were
Our
outsiders.
cousins, and it was an
These were the-
intrusion into our
they
family.
belonged in the house,
David, there was never anything,
and they were all treated the same way.
anything as far as sibling rivalry. We didn't even know what it was. We
That's a
never
very interesting
experienced
point,
it.
that in this large household, we didn't have that feeling.
Because everyone was important for him or herself to Mom and Pop.
The example that was set was one of caring. That's an awfully important thing in a household.
Understand?
And everybody mattered. And there was an amazing understanding psychologically that I can never get over. They just seemed to know what children needed. They seemed to know how to handle situations, and we never had a really difficult situation arise.
When my father and Aunt Rose and Aunt Helen moved in, did you feel like you were getting cousins or
I
just
don't
equals?
I don't remember.
I don't remember
feeling
that at all.
of
David, I don't
Change.
remember.
My
They were just
earliest,
there.
my
They were
earliest,
there.
my
They were
earliest
family.
remembrance was that they were part of the house. What happened is
when you were really
they
a
moved
baby.
from one house to another.
Mhm.
And when they moved into the other house, they were part of the moving into the other house.
There was no difference to us because there was no difference by our set,
That's
an
what
example
made the
set by
difference.
our parents.
That's what made
We were all the same. We were their children.
And
They were
they didn't receive less treatment. They
Or
didn't get
more.
hand-me-downs.
Never.
They may have even gotten a little more. I don't know. But, you know, Pop was the way that he didn't want, he wanted to be careful somebody wasn't hurt. So I think you could get that mostly from Rosie and Helen.
It was just,
Particularly
A lot of
Rosie.
that, how they felt when they came into the family.
Have you spoken to Rosie about that?
yeah,
Yes.
some.
Okay, I think we're finished unless there's...
It's just a matter of love.
There's no end to what we could talk about.
And the thing that is so wonderful is that we still have this wonderfully close relationship and
Hello, babe.
wonderful feelings for each other.
All right, a moment of seriousness. Are you gonna hold it? A moment of seriousness, just a second. See, these recent years, we felt, for the most part, have been very good ones for our family. So all 10 of your children, that is all of us cousins, wanted to do something that would express our gratitude for the good years and to express the deep feelings that we have for our family, feelings that you have passed on to us. So we have all planted a garden of trees in Israel, and we would like to present each of you with a certificate which we will read together as follows. a garden of trees, the Satinsky Garden, in honor of the children of Max and Molly Satinsky, Min, Rose, Rhea, Sylvia, and Yang.
Helene, which one is my tree? Can you see it?
What do we get for the bad year?
Alexander?
Get anything for the bad
Did you see it? Oh, I think that's one of the most moving things.
No, the trees, they sway in the breeze, but they don't move. They stay in one place. That's, we give Burton the credit.
Burton, that was your idea?
I'm here on the right day. This takes a lot.
Which one is mine?
Very good. That is very good. I am totally
Terrific idea. I want the one that where the leaves don't fall off too often. I want to clean up.
That's the dead tree.
With all the dogs have it, for the property has an invisible fence around it.
It's not heavy.
Unless they go near the edge of the fence, in which case they get a little shocked. But they don't go near it. First time.
Next to his age, his brother Max, he was the salesman, my father ran the business, and he gave equal portions to the other two. He also, from 9 to 12 every Sunday morning, had office hours without charge. People would come in the hallway, sit in seats in the dining room, and I would lead them to the sash that separated the dining room to the living room. They'd go in one by one and go out the other way so the other people wouldn't see them, so they wouldn't be embarrassed. And he did this every single Sunday morning, no charge, to help everybody who had a problem. Business, personal problems, or what. He was quite a brilliant man.
He was like the rabbi.
He was like the rest of them. Yeah. Of course, you heard from that there was great love between he and his brother Max. My mother, of course, that's the Purcell family. Very, very warm. And she was unlike most Jewish mothers of that age. She would play games with us. She played the piano, and every Friday night, Friday night before she died, we were playing London Bridges. We were all in a circle, each one over, high up in the air for Over the Bridge. And she read to us every night before we went to bed. We slept in the same room, the two boys in one bed and the two girls in the other. Irv and Joe in one bed and Rose and I. And she'd go from bed to bed and read stories to each one before we went to bed every night. So that when we moved to Aunt Molly's, it was not the same environment. We weren't ready. We were in bed. We could only eat one piece of cake. It took us a while to adjust, which was a normal way of living. I mean, they were very permissive. We heard about painting the piano white. And Edie came in one day and said, "Annie, do you see what the children are doing? They're painting the piano white." She said, "Plays the same." We used to bang with our feet on it, and yet she loved piano, and she played. She used to play when we went to bed, and we'd sneak down the stairway and hear her singing.
This is your mother?
My mother, on the rocky road to Dublin. We'd all watch her on the stairway. She was very, very warm, very, very warm. Always hugging us, reading to us, playing with us. But that story I thought would be interesting about my father. And I understand Vic says Reds does it not to the same discipline hours, but people do come to him for advice.
Yeah.
Very brave.
Let me ask you the same question I asked the other group. Why do you think the Satinsky family has not only turned out to be such nice people, but so close and so warm?
Because we were raised in the same house. Well, it goes back further. Uncle Max and Aunt Ma, Uncle Max, my father, they were over every day. He was over every day. They were in business together, Uncle Max and the fact that we were divided into the other family, which we were not close with earlier, then we became all one family. 18 of us. We were not close with Uncle Max. We hardly ever saw them. So it was because we were divided that way.
That's what I thought might.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yet we had a different, we were wild in our immediate family because of our mother's side, because every weekend we drove back to my Aunt Edie's and stayed there for the weekend. Well, my Uncle Joe would dance with us, and my mother would carry on. And they had a rabbi and very sedate people as a background on the other side. We really helped liven them, with our aunties.
Yeah.
Remember they all talked to both sides, both houses, the kids and then the adults, the college ones. They always called us kids very condescendingly. Rhea, Rose, and I were, so we were the kids. And they were, Irv and Rose and the men were the grown-up college people. And one rainy afternoon, we didn't know what to do with ourselves because it was raining. We went up to the attic and we found all men's old evening gowns, all kinds, beaded stuff, balloon stuff. And we got dressed up. And for 2 hours, we were hysterical, planning how we were going to surprise the college group and how excited they would be and what fun we would have. Well, all the fun was planning it because when we came down, all dressed up in evening gowns at age 12, 13, 14, all they said was, oh, dumb kids. That was the end of that. But we were, Rhea and I were close, Rose and Sylvie were close. And then, Rose and I, because we were orphans in the same house, were very close. So there was, a warm feeling.
You're on.
You're on. You're on. We lived in Memphis Street, and I vividly remember the dining room because of a traumatic experience. My mother was fixing my panty, and then my Uncle Max came in with a little Vaseline bottle and said Minnie died, and that was the appendix. And just that moment, we had a cuckoo clock. The bird came out and said cuckoo. And that's so unplanned as though it happened yesterday. And the other experience...
didn't your mother know that Minnie had died?
He came home from the hospital. She was home with me. I was a baby.
Oh, she didn't know
Stayed at the
that
hospital.
the daughter had died.
No, she died of peritonitis.
That's a fine way to tell her. This is
maybe
the
they
appendix.
call.
This is the appendix that killed your
They
child.
didn't have phones.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah. Well, he told her first in the
Nice,
show.
well,
Safety
all right,
appendix
Dave.
and Vaseline.
Good to see you.
So good. I'm so
The
glad
other
you got it.
experience. The other experience.
Turn right at which
The other experience I remember there is we had a hokey pokey ice cream man, and I would scream hokey pokey ice cream. I was also about 3 or 4.
I said you turn
And
right.
ran down the steps,
There's only
fucking
one way
broken
to
hands,
turn.
and I was a scar.
It is, I said to you, it is not.
All right, now I'm going to tell my story,
was
but I want you to get the good side of my face, David. Now,
I know.
how's this, David? Is this good? Because I don't want him to have to think. Now, this is a true story. I don't know if people knew. Uncle Barney was the religious leader of the family. Nobody questioned his authority.
We were all scared of him, too.
Yes, everybody was scared of him because he was God. When he said something, it counted.
Tell them about the rabbis.
All right, naturally, all the rabbis who came from Europe only stayed at our house because
And
they
Uncle
We had some.
and Uncle Max.
Yeah,
That was after he died, I guess. So.
No.
Mostly Uncle Barney.
Well, nevertheless, when he was about 56 years old, Uncle Barney, I don't know what he died from, but they were taking him to the hospital. In those days, when you went to the hospital, you didn't come back. It was a serious mistake to go to the hospital. They didn't have doctors like David Satinsky at that time.
Right.
They had guessers. Nevertheless, he called Vic and me in. I was 10 years old at the time, and he went like this, and he blessed us. And I never forgot it. It was so touching that on his deathbed, he could think of his nephews and wanted to be sure that they were blessed before he went to the hospital.
And he never
You
came
didn't
back?
know that story?
Never knew that.
You want to say that he never came back.
Well, of course he never came back. I introduced it with that. Cut, David.
Beautiful story.
Yeah.
Do you have this
I
side?
knew know that story because
Never knew that.
We really didn't know him too well. We were afraid of him.
Oh, everybody was terrified of him. He used to get up
Yes,
in the
we were.
synagogue.
Listen to this.
He would get up in the synagogue and he would say, Rabbi, you didn't say Achshverosh. You say it today. The rabbi would say, no, you don't. He'd say, you say it today. It says it in Parsha X. And they would say it. If he said something, it was law. He was terrific. There was another story that I don't think you knew, and this hurt me a great deal too, but I misunderstood it. When I was about 8 years old, on Rosh Hashanah, on Yom Kippur, you fasted. And the children never fasted. They fasted till 12 o'clock, and then he would send them home and they would eat. Well, I didn't eat. I wanted to show what a good Jew I was. So when I came back around 3 o'clock,
Grown up you were.
yeah, I was grown up, he said, well, did you have something? I said, no, I didn't have anything, and he slapped me across the face.
You disobeyed.
I disobeyed him, certainly. But the slap hurt much more than the physical slap. Well, I disobeyed him, but I was doing it to please him. I thought I was doing a wonderful thing. Here I'm fasting, even though I'm not supposed to. You should say, great kid, but I didn't get that. But it just showed his integrity. I mean, he had
He was a
tremendous
very
integrity.
learned man. That I remember. That reminds me of a wonderful story.
Well, he ran a soda water business, and he had a partner. And his partner sold some soda water on a Saturday that he wasn't supposed to do.
Jeff, no.
So he had a meeting with his partner, and he took the money and he threw it away to teach him not to make money on Saturday.
He was very.
That's the kind of guy he was.
Reminds me of another one.
Now that isn't David.
Don't put
David
that in.
wants to know where that money is.
Cut that.
One of them, the Satinsky family had always had a reputation for being extremely observant Jews,
Oh, yeah.
following all the rules and the laws
Yeah.
of the religion.
No question.
There was an occasion where Uncle Max had to appear in court because somebody was suing the family mill. They're sitting in the courtroom, and the lawyer for the man who was bringing the suit is saying they did this, they didn't keep their word, they didn't keep their promise, and so on and so on. The lawyer for the Satinskys, represented by Uncle Max, said that's ridiculous. If a Satinsky gives his word, that's as good as a bond, and they have a very fine reputation, and so on and so on. It didn't impress anybody, the jury, not the judge. So the lawyer for Uncle Max said to the lawyer for the one who was suing, give us the exact date that you